Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me on the video. Always appreciate that. Guys, today I want to dive a little bit deeper into Bassmaster's ridiculously stupid decision yesterday to basically do nothing about any forward-facing sonar changes for 2025. Sort of want to get into that in today's video, and also talk about some of the outrage amongst the Bassmaster Elite Series about that decision as well. Also, guys, before we get started here, just a big thank you. I wanted to extend a big thank you from me and my family to everybody out there that's been helping out with here in Intuitive Angling by using all the links I put in the description of the videos. If you guys are one of those viewers that have been using my tackle warehouse to purchase your tackle, or solar bat links, or fish the moment lake map breakdowns, all that type of stuff, just a big thank you, because we really appreciate that. You guys are really being a big part to help the channel stay on YouTube. Okay, guys, if you saw the video I did yesterday, you know, we talked a little bit about Bass's decision to, they came out with their version of the Livescope rule changes for 2025, which basically were nothing. They just, you know, took away the number of transducers that you could use on a Livescope down to 1. They reduced the screen inches of the total amount of screen inches you could have on your electronic units to 55 inches, which is still a dang video game arcade in your boat. You could have four units on your boat that are almost 15 inches across, so that's not nothing. And then they talked about not being able to use these trolling motors on your shallow water anchors, which was a non-issue because there's only like 5 or 6 people that do it anyway. In other words, they didn't do anything. And one of the things that happened out of this, you guys may have heard about it, that Bassmaster, they had their you know, angler meeting here recently. And basically, the anglers, you know, the majority of the anglers voiced a frustration about forward-facing sonar, and most of them wanted some type of a 50-50 split, like half the tournaments are with it, half the tournaments are without. And actually, there's a petition getting gathered right now amongst the Bassmaster, some Bassmaster Elite Series pros, to petition Bass to change their stance on this and basically just cut it down. You can use, you know, the cheater box 50% of the tournaments, and you can't use the cheater box 50% of the tournament. So, but you know, what they did is they basically just had this meeting as a token, and it went in one ear and out the other, and they wound up doing, you know, what they wanted to based upon this Bassmaster Tech Committee, which was basically a bunch of forward-facing sonar proponents that didn't fish. There was one pro on there that I'm aware of. Davey Hyatt was the only pro on there. But as far as I can tell, the rest of it's just a bunch of group guys from Bassmaster that don't fish professionally. They've never fished professionally. They don't know what it's like to fish professionally. And they had motivations and they had reasons for allowing spotlighting to continue to be used that were not in the best interest of the sport. So, given that, where does that put us at now? Puts us in the same position, because, you know, in light of the NPFL's decision, which was the greatest decision any tournament organization ever made a couple days ago about completely banning forward-facing sonar from the tournaments next year, Bassmaster didn't do anything. It's still going to be the same thing, guys. It's going to be every tournament is going to get one with forward-facing sonar. There may be 1 or 2 tournaments where maybe every fish on the lake is on a bed, or they go to a mud pit, and there may be some guys that actually catch fish traditional bass fishing. But for the most part, it's going to be the same thing. Come Championship Sunday, you're going to see a split screen of 4 anglers looking at the back of their heads, looking down at a video game, saying, there he is, there he is, there he is, oh, he's close, oh, there he is, like that. That's what it's going to be. It's continued. And one of the biggest jokes that Bassmaster has ever made on this is they say, look at our ratings. Our ratings are so high, and we've got such fan engagement. I'm here to tell you that ain't because of forward-facing sonar. That people have an appetite to watch bass fishing, but if you, like I said on Bass Talk Live on the interview we did last night, let me lay this scenario out here. Okay, say you got X tournament on Bassmaster Elite Series. You got one tournament where there's 4 dudes in the middle of the lake where you can't see the bank anywhere. They're looking down at their screen with their spinning rod, shaking it, shaking it, shaking it. Every one of them doing the same thing. And then you have another tournament, let's say, where you got Chris Aldane throwing a big 8-inch swim bait, and they're focused in on that swim bait coming through the water, and an 8-pounder comes up and gets it. Or you have Jason Christie throwing a big spinnerbait next to a lay down tree and you just see the water flush underneath it. Or you have Greg Hackney flipping a mat down in Florida and you see the mat hunch up and he catches an 8 or 10 pounder. You tell me from a viewer standpoint which is going to get higher ratings. So when Bassmaster says, when they throw all this stuff about us, fan engagement and our viewerships are higher than ever, that's just a bunch of BS, because it doesn't have anything to do with the cheater box at all. And they're trying to make it sound like there's a big appetite for people, you know, wanting to see people, you know, use the spotlighting technique for bass. That is the biggest bunch of fake news propaganda BS I've ever heard in my life. So what can we do about it? You know, there's not much you can do about it, because just like what a lot of the guys were saying on Bass Talk Live last night, which was a great show, guys. If you guys ought to watch it, that Bass Talk Live show last night, the replay of it. But basically, like a lot of the Elite Series pros were saying on there, Jordan Lee made a good point saying that, you know, they're going to do what they want to do. It's like they're not going to listen to the anglers. They're basically going to do what they want to do, you know, for the motivations that they see doing that. And what you have is there's two different motivations. You have a segment of, or you have a group of people within Bassmaster that they have this worldview of bass fishing in their mind, which in my opinion is completely messed up. And then you got the financial considerations and motivations, which they say is not an issue. It's another bunch of BS. It's completely the whole reason for it. And in other words, you know, the sport is not in the best hands within Bassmaster now. I'm really disappointed, because Bassmaster should be the leader in this sport. They should be the bar that everybody else goes by. And that bar should be the entire focus on the sustainability of the sport, the conservation efforts within the sport, maintaining the heritage and the tradition of the sport, maintaining the baseline where technology does not corrupt the sport like it's corrupting it right now. And right now, dang, when Bassmaster, guys, you've got the fox guarding the hen house because nothing is getting done right. And I would just like to see Bassmaster return to the era of, you know, 1985, 1990, when Bassmaster was truly the greatest bass fishing organization in the world. And it's not that way anymore. It's become, I don't know what it's become, but it's just, it's not good. So as long as these tournament organizations are for-profit businesses, which MLF and Bassmaster are, their decision-making process is going to be based upon that. And I've always said it, and pros have been, you know, screaming for this for years. You know, tournament organizations, the best, you know, scenario ever for any tournament organization is for it to be owned and ran by the tournament anglers themselves. You know, in a perfect world, guys, in a perfect world, you know, this is what I would like to do. I'd like to win one of those $1 billion lotteries, and I'd like to purchase Bassmaster, and then I would like to give it back to the anglers and say, this Bassmaster from now on is going to be run by tournament anglers. It's going to be controlled by tournament anglers. There's not going to be any outside motivations. We're not going to have guys running this tournament organization that have never fished professionally and don't know what it's like to fish professionally. We're going to have the tournament anglers in charge of their own destiny, and I just think that would be the perfect world in all different situations. So anyway, guys, just a few thoughts this morning. Let me know what you guys think about that. We'll talk later. See you.